The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. We will, and if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Individual owners of the different cryptos, and how do you keep somebody from manipulating it? Obviously, if you could buy into an unregulated one and somehow manipulate the price that it became regulated, you would make yourself wealthy, because once you became regulated, then you're going to be part of the, for lack of better terminology, the chosen ones.
Yeah. Thank you, Congressman. I appreciate your raising the petition for rulemaking we filed last July, nearly 10, or I guess now 11 months ago. And the reason we filed that petition, even as we support a legislative effort such as the one we're discussing today, is that under the current circumstances at the SEC, as Mr. Gallagher has alluded to, the invitation has been extended repeatedly to come in and register. And yet, like Robinhood, when Coinbase has attempted to do just that, to talk about how we could register as a broker-dealer or an ATS, or even as an NSE, after months and months of discussion, we were simply dismissed with no response or any counter-proposal or ideas coming back from the SEC. Thank you.
Yeah, Congressman, it's another great question. You know, our derivatives markets are global in nature.
Right.
And that is the way they function, because we have large institutions needing to manage global risk.
Yeah, we're not an island here.
Yep. And I think this is, in many respects, the nature of digital assets is global. There are no barriers like there are in traditional markets. And I think it is important. I'm the vice chair of IOSCO, which is an international organization of securities commissioners. I participate in the Financial Stability Board. There are a lot of efforts at the global level to coordinate rules of the road. And as was mentioned by the chairman, Europe has moved on crypto regulation, the UK, Singapore, Hong Kong. And I think it's important that we gel our rules across.
So you think there are models there that we can follow with those?
Every jurisdiction is unique, and certainly in the U.S. market, we're the largest, deepest, and we have a variety and diverse set of institutions and market participants. But at a high level, they're certainly looking at the European model is a good mark, and some of the work that the UK and Singapore is doing as well is a good mark to start off with.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And guys, while we had Gary Gensler distracting the masses, there was actually a pretty good meeting in Congress, the House Committee on Agriculture, speaking about crypto regulation. And we know even when it comes to Bitcoin and Ethereum, the whales own majority of it. And that's the reason why it's so important to understand the technology, so therefore you can make the proper investment in utility tokens. So therefore you are one of the chosen ones. And you guys know I've done plenty of videos when I first started on tokenizing this economy. Everything is going to be tokenized and put on blockchain. Even including the current stocks that we have right now are going to be tokenized. So not just cryptos, but you're talking about the whole economy, the bond market, futures, commodities, forex, derivatives. Everything is going to be tokenized and put on blockchain. Well, all of it's going to be ran by an algorithm. And again, if you understand the technology, you'll be able to take advantage. I'm not your financial advice, not financial advice. Please do your own research. But if you're looking at what's going on with Gary Gensler, mainstream media, social media, you'll be caught up in the illusion, the distraction. Guys, remember the goal is a fourth industrial revolution, this digital transformation. They want the robots, algorithms, and drones to take this economy over, and we see the push in AI. And normally when they push an agenda, you'll see it start with the little guy, then it moves up and the corporations take over. With AI, it wasn't like that. With AI, we see corporations immediately in the forefront because, guys, we know they're ready to flip the switch. Like the CFTC chair stated, we see the emerging markets, Europe, and the Middle East bringing crypto regulation. The only ones behind are the United States, and we know that is for a reason. They want the emerging markets, the Middle East, to rise, led by China without the United States. Why? Because they have to destroy the United States dollar. Fiat doesn't work in this digital transformation. With internet money, now the machines can take over the whole economy without a human being involved. So when you're asked, how do you measure the valuation of crypto? It's all about the utility, smart contracts, DeFi, and blockchain cuts out billions of dollars in fees, and that's the reason why this old banking model doesn't work. That's the reason why we're going to see another banking crisis going towards the end of the year. They have to destroy the small banks in order to destroy the small businesses, and in order to put all these people out of work, so then the machines can rise. Remember, the NWO caused the problem, wait for the reaction, and run in with the solution. And what's that solution, guys? That's right, programmable money, so therefore they don't have to worry about social unrest. They'll be able to airdrop that free money, telling you what, where, and when and how to buy. You have 3 to 6 months to spend it, or poof, it's gone. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Anyways, I go on Charles Schwab, a brokerage, to buy a stock, and I can look at financial details. I can look at fundamental details. I can look at all kinds of company analytics, book value, earnings per share. And now we're going to put crypto objects on the stock market under the SEC guidance. How does a retail investor know what they're getting or what the fundamentals are, or how do they evaluate? What are the metrics that help them understand what they're buying?
So it's a great question, Congressman, and the answer is disclosure, and that is what's missing right now. Compulsory disclosure in the digital asset space is missing.
Disclosure of what? I'm sorry. How many shares are out there? How many users are out there?
Anything.
What are the metrics that would foretell high likelihood of success, or at least let us evaluate one versus another? How do you measure an airdropped crypto asset from a securities exchange point of view? What is the relevant information? I know earnings per share or discounted cash flow is always a theory of stock valuation. What is the theory of crypto valuation on from the SECs that we're defending to protect retail customers?
Yeah, and look, I think the value of disclosure is in the eye of the investor, right? So some investors want to look at quantitative measures like discounted cash flows, as you said. Some want to look at qualitative measures. Who's the management team? Who formed this? What in this instance, what does this coin do? Does it have a utility? What network is it on? Is it stakeable? Right, all of these other features that might be important to it.
Well, what would be the comparable of full dilution or earnings per share? And when you talk about crypto,
Oh boy, you've gone right past my level of accounting expertise.
Might I jump in, because it's a really interesting question. So, in the commodities world, overseen by the CFTC, there isn't the same kind of disclosure you get in the securities world. In other words, if you want to buy oil futures, if you want to buy wheat futures, there isn't disclosure put out as to how the wheat market's
I'll
necessarily.
get to that next, but tell me something about the securities field. Can any of you answer me, what are the prime metrics of valuing a crypto asset in the securities exchange markets, regulated markets?
I think the reason we're having a hard time answering it is it hasn't happened because there's been no registration for these assets under the securities laws.
Okay, so we don't have a we don't know what we're
a-
disclosing, but we're going to be completely transparent and disclose something.
Right?
We don't really know where the value is vested. It's not earnings.
Well, I think a lot of this
It's
is
not business strategy. It's just something.
Well,
I mean, because we're just right now we're closing down SPACs, right? We're just shutting it down because it's too vague, too empty, too hollow, too much room for abuse. Special purpose acquisition companies, We're shutting them down at the SEC, but now we're going to open up crypto, and we don't know how that's valued either.
Congressman, if I may,
Please.
the most important element of disclosure, whether you're talking about traditional equities or a crypto asset, is what does this thing do? And in the case of crypto assets, how does this network work? What is it aimed at providing in real ways for real people? That would happen under a regime of disclosure. It's important that people who purchase these crypto assets understand that,
Well,
and they can then make independent assessments as to that value
Yeah, but
based
in,
on their
in business,
conclusions.
we talk about what is your competitive advantage? What is your unique value proposition? What is your corporate strategy? What are you going to do better than other companies aren't already doing? What resources do you have, or what's your talent pool? I don't see how any of that fits into describing how we value a crypto asset. So I'll let that sit here. Certainly be willing to have more answers further. The other thing is, on the commodity side, there's lots of commodities in the world, but not all of them get listed on the Chicago Board of Trade. How do or don't, if I look at the ownership structure of even Ethereum and Bitcoin, the best case scenarios, it still looks like they're very consolidated in their ownership and with a great deal of potential for manipulation by a few large holders to where the whales can hurt the fish. If I look at certain charts, the tiny holders are going to get outplayed by the larger holders. What are the standards there? How can we look to prevent that?
The CFTC since 1923 has had large trader reports filed daily by people trading in the markets, so they would have similar information for these products, so they would see if there was a outsized position that could be manipulated. And some of my former CFTC colleagues here know that there are surveillance staff that tries to talk those people out of positions or force them to liquidate if they're too large.
And that's what happened on the LIBOR rate manipulation back in 2000.
Well, that was off exchange, so that was part of the problem. It was off exchange, but when it's on exchange, and Chairman Giancarlo and my
So you can see patterns of manipulation by large holders. Okay, yes, Chairman, thank you. I yield back.
Well, let's just go break through everything because Coinbase actually provided me with a statement. But SEC is accusing Coinbase of operating since 2019 without having registered with the regulator. So that means pretty much handling crypto transactions without actually providing disclosure requirements meant to protect investors. And you had the SEC chair actually calling the targeted crypto platforms a, quote, web of deception. Coinbase has just provided me with a statement from their chief legal officer, and the quote is, the SEC's reliance on an enforcement-only approach in the absence of clear rules for the digital asset industry is hurting America's economic competitiveness and companies like Coinbase that have a demonstrated commitment to compliance. The solution is legislation that allows fair rules for the road to be developed transparently and applied equally, not litigation. In the meantime, we'll continue to operate our business as usual. This coin lawsuit really just comes, 24 hours after the SEC sued Binance, 13 charges specifically against the platform and its co-founder, also accusing them of running an unregistered platform in the United States and commingling, in other words, misusing customer funds, and sending them to another trading firm owned by Binance's co-founder, CZ. Here's SEC Chair Gary Gensler's reasoning. Listen in.
All we have to show is that one of them is a security, and they should be properly registering and having rule books against fraud and manipulation as an exchange, broker, and the like.
So that means out of 250 digital assets on Coin, or 16,000 available on Binance's wallet, only one needs to act as an unregistered security for this to be securities fraud. The argument from Coinbase and Binance's side is that the SEC won't provide details on how a digital asset or staking, which is really just earning rewards for holding crypto, is a security and therefore should be regulated like one. And that's very simply put. With Gensler saying, we don't need more digital currencies. We already have the US dollar, the Japanese yen. You can see shares of Coinbase down double digits right now.
So we already know in the U.S. and in many other jurisdictions that 3/4 of the market are not ICOs or not what would be called securities. Even in the U.S., Canada, and Taiwan, the 3 jurisdictions that follow something similar to the Howey test that we've talked about, 3/4 of the market is non-securities. It's just a commodity, a cash crypto. So you'll hear debates about initial coin offerings and what's a security and what's not a security. Relevant and important debate. But for 3/4 of the market, it's not particularly relevant as a legal matter.
This is a field that's built. The whole business model is built on non-compliance with the U.S. securities laws. And we're asking them to come into compliance, and they're going a bit of catch us if you can. That's a sort of generalization. And They're commingling various functions that traditional finance we don't allow. I mean, the public would be aghast if they thought the New York Stock Exchange was also running a hedge fund trading against them, or allowing wash trading, or lacked controls to protect against fraud and manipulation on the platform. And so the conversations have been constructive, but it's also about them bringing a business model into compliance. We have had success. There is, even in the last 2 weeks, an entity filed as a crypto entity filed as what's called a special purpose broker dealer and got registered that way. We've had successes with tokens, but now it's about these crypto exchanges in the middle of the market where, frankly, the public should really be careful.
But, all right, Chair Gensler, if it's a business model built on non-compliance, as you just said, if they do comply, do they no longer have a business?
Look, I think if there's a real value in these crypto tokens, then compliance will build trust, and the business model might change. It's the hard work of earning the investing public's trust. The innovations, what we're doing at the SEC is pro-innovation, because without trust, the capital markets really don't work. That's the casino capitalism might work. Wild West capitalism might work for the people that are picking the pocket of the public. But I'm talking about really work for issuers, raising money, and investors alike. And to do that, you need integrity and rules of the road in the middle.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate. Not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Team save the village. Part 2. King Yashu and Grandma Tanya save New York. Long COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Yashua and Grandma Tanya goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.